Hi everyone. This video is going to hopefully be an inspirational video about please don't waste your life. And I almost put in parentheses because I did, or rather I wasted much of it. And Sheppy's crying because he doesn't know why I'm sitting on the grass and why I'm not walking through his favorite park. And I have Maggie on a leash because she wants me to throw sticks and she'll bark. So it's such a beautiful day out here. I thought, why not just sit on the grass and do this video out here in the sun? And so how did I waste my life? I wasted many years by not believing in myself, plain and simple. I grew up in a beautiful New England oceanfront town with all the benefits of a small town in terms of a sailing community, small shops, arts and crafts possibilities, meaning I could have opened a shop with quilting, with books that I may have written. I could have learned how to sail. I could have even purchased a home back then with my waitressing job that I was not very good at, but I made good money. But I didn't see the value in anything back then because I always felt like it was somewhere else. It wasn't right in front of me. And so I took off to California and I became enmeshed in the machine of working at jobs I hated. My first one was making printed circuit boards in Silicon Valley in the 80s, which was booming back then, and it was easy to find a job anywhere. And you could just pick and choose what you wanted. Rent was cheap, and I could take care of myself back then. Of course, it's vastly different now. But my point is, I hated my job, but I did it anyway, because I didn't see anything of value in myself to follow the things that I really valued. And Maggie's crying too because she doesn't understand why I'm sitting on the grass doing nothing. And so after a while I got tired of making printed circuit boards, and I thought, okay, maybe there's something else for me. So I was hired very quickly, knew what to say in my interview, wore a pretty dress, smiled, said all the right things, was actually the perfect robot, and was hired on the spot to be an order processing clerk. Now how boring is that? Sitting in an office behind a desk all day, answering the phone, taking orders, and typing them into a keyboard on the computer screen. Now what I couldn't figure out was how my coworkers actually enjoyed their jobs. And I couldn't understand how many of them had been there for years. And so I stayed for a couple of years, and then I thought, okay, I'll get another job. That should be fulfilling. So I was hired at a very large company in a marketing department, and with no college degree, I did quite well. Yet I didn't fit in there either. Why? Because I didn't belong there. I had ignored all my talents, my love of horses, my deep, long yearning to have my own stable and to teach children how to ride and to run it myself, which would have been incredibly fulfilling to me. No, I didn't think that that would really work for me because I doubted myself. I doubted my love for nature and my love for living out in the wilderness as I do now. And I knew that if I had followed my passions, what if they wouldn't have worked out? So maybe it was safer, or I thought it was safer, to do what I hated. Because if it didn't work out, so what? I hated it anyway. Does that make any sense? And so I chose a comfort level way beneath myself knowing that it didn't matter if I succeeded or failed because they weren't my passions anyway. And what a ridiculous way to look at life, right? Shuppy's gonna roll in the grass. Shup, shup. And I succeeded in my career as a marketing representative, and I made good money, and I became part of a team and part of the machine for quite a few years, all the while feeling more and more empty, more and more lost. And now, when I was finally 60 years old, completely burned out, fed up, worn out, mad at myself, I finally realized it was time for me. So I guess you could call me a late bloomer. Well, at least I am, right? And when I wrote my first book, I realized that I was always a writer. I just didn't ever take the first step. And now with this YouTube channel, I'm realizing that my voice does matter. And I'm also realizing that living out off-grid in the woods was something I could have very easily done years and years ago, rather than living in the Bay Area with 2-hour commutes, a ridiculously boring and unfulfilling and very stressful life, because I felt that I was obligated to do what everyone else expected me to do. And I think that is the biggest problem today, why people are lost, because they've lost themselves, because they've lost their passions and they've forgotten about it, and their passions have been buried in the machine. And if that resonates with any of you, please don't waste your years like I did. And please don't wait until you're 65 years old to finally realize you're a writer or a painter or an artist of whatever kind, or that you've always wanted to live off grid but you never thought you could, so you never even tried it. Or maybe you loved animals and always wanted a rescue, such as me, but never thought you could do that either, and were afraid of taking that first step, afraid of failure, or maybe even afraid of success. And maybe my wasted years weren't so wasted if I can make meaning of them now and offer my failures for your benefit, because I have many more. I have, gosh, I could talk about how I waitressed in a beautiful, beautiful restaurant with elegant table settings, a vast view of the ocean, very expensive meals, and how I smiled and wore my ridiculously stupid uniform for 2 years, making one mistake after the other, believing that that's all I could ever do. Meanwhile, I should have chucked that uniform. I should have put on a pair of jeans and a t-shirt and found my little piece of land and started my riding academy. Even if it was just with one horse or one pony, I could have done it. Why didn't I? I was afraid. I went for the sure thing, the stupid, and I'm not calling all waitressing stupid, because you can make some good money there. And actually I did back then. I made about $100 a night, which is pretty good for 1975. That was a long time ago. And I think the lure of belonging to a big company also had a lot to do with my giving up my dreams, because a company is almost like a parent. They promise you things. They promise you health benefits. They promise you supposedly stability, which today isn't the case at all. Maybe a false sense of stability they offer. They offer you this sense of belonging, where you have a routine of getting up every day and going into the office and having your own workspace, when in reality it isn't yours at all. You belong to someone else. It doesn't belong to you. And that's a lot of the facade of working for another company, because you think your meager 2-week vacation every year is a good enough reward. No, it isn't. It's slavery, and it's ridiculous. And that 2-week vacation is barely enough time to relax anyway. And if you spend all year thinking about those 2 weeks going somewhere, how ridiculous is that? And if you're like me, you spent your weekends catching up on all the things you didn't have time to do during the week, and paying your bills, and scraping enough money together to pay your mortgage. For the house, you're barely inside anyway because you're always at work. And for paying for the car that you need to drive to the job that pays for your car, that pays for your mortgage, that you barely enjoy. Now, I was caught up in that insanity for years and years and years. And I thought I was doing great. I thought I was a success. But I was failing myself. I was failing the very things that I was blessed to have. My love of writing, my love of the outdoors, my love for animals, my love for horses, my talent for dancing, my love for the ocean, where I should have learned sailing. Heck, I could have given sailing lessons. I could have made a career doing that. Why did I throw away so many things I loved? Because I didn't believe in myself. So my question is to all of you, have you thrown away things that you love? Have you thrown away passions? Or are you holding them somewhere off to the side, thinking, that's okay, one day I'll do that. I still have time. I'll do this job that I don't like for now, because I need to. But one day, when I'm ready, I'll follow that dream, or I'll follow that talent that I haven't yet even tried. But please take my failures for maybe a wake-up call, because if you keep putting off, as I did, what you really love, you're going to find yourself 65 years old one day regretting it all. Now, sure, I did benefit from working all those years, because I do receive a nice Social Security benefit, which I would not have received had I not paid into it for all those years. And I also have a pension from that last job I worked as a marketing rep. So I guess you could say that that was very beneficial to me. But on the other hand, who knows what I would have accumulated in terms of financial rewards had I done what I loved. Maybe I would have made investments on my own. Maybe I would have become more financially successful without those companies offering all of these benefits. Who knows? But I suspect that I would have been better off, and my phone almost fell down. I suspect I would have been better off. And I suspect that not only would I have been better off financially, but I would have been better off spiritually, emotionally, and fulfilled. And so I love using all my failures for my channel, especially for anyone of any age. And I'm curious to know, especially from seniors watching this, do you regret anything you've done in your life? Do you regret not following your passions? And are you doing them now? And if so, what are they? Because I'd love to hear them. And maybe I'm making up for lost time, because there's so many things I want to do now, and I am doing. And so, don't waste your life. Don't think that what you can do today, that tomorrow will wait for you. Because tomorrow may not be waiting for you. And tomorrow may not be here anyway. Right, Maggie? And I'm not going to wait for tomorrow. I'm going to plan for tomorrow today. And I'm going to do what I can for tomorrow. and for next year by manifesting my dream of my farm and by working every single day on my books, on my future plans, and everything that I love, I'm going to do every day that I have. So I hope I inspire you. I want every one of my videos to give you an idea for something that you've got going on in your life. And even if you've wasted years like I have, so what? Let's learn from them. Let's look back at all those things that we did not do, and let's do them now. Let's take that one thing that we love, that we are passionate about, that maybe other people told us that we couldn't ever do, that we couldn't ever succeed, and let's do them now. No matter what other people are saying. Let's ignore the naysayers, no matter what. And let's have fun and enjoy every minute, because that's what every minute is here for anyway. And I'm going to live the rest of my life like that, and I love it. I'm so full of energy. I inspire myself, and I inspire myself from my mistakes. So in a way, our mistakes might not be such failures. And I mentioned this before too, but they're stepping stones. They're stepping stones to show us what we can do now and what we will no longer do, because we know that they were a waste of time. And that might even mean relationships. You might be in a relationship that's going nowhere, and you keep telling yourself, one day I'm going to end this. One day when I have this happen or that happen. And as you wait for those things to hopefully happen, please know that those things may never happen. Please know that you can make a choice right now and put a stop to things that are not working out, because you have the power of choice, and you have the power to make a decision to do whatever you want. So I hope this video was helpful. I so love inspiring all of you. And if you have any more questions about my past or the jobs that I worked, and yeah, I did benefit financially from many of them. Yet on the other hand, if we think in terms of making money versus being happy, I did not benefit at all. And I would have been fine without the benefits that I receive now, because I would have lived a different life and I would have been in a different place. And money is not the end all anything anyway. And maybe that's where we get sidetracked, because we think that's okay. Even if I don't really like my job, I'm making good money, right? Well, it gets to a point where you have to tip the scale and wonder, is it really worth it? Is it really worth paying for that house or apartment or car or nice clothes or all those material things, especially in today's world? How much money do you really need? What is your lifestyle? What do you really want? So I hope, I would love to hear if this video inspired you and what it made you think about, and what choices you might make differently after watching this. I would love to hear it. And I hope you're all having a really wonderful day. Take care, everyone.